All right. Well, good morning. I am so excited that you guys are here today. We are going to talk all about how to get crystal clear on who your ideal client is and how to find them. A lot of times we might know for ourselves who we think we want to work with, but we're not really sure down to the details of exactly who we want to work with, why we want to work with them. So today we want to kind of uncover and dig into how we best know our ideal client so that we know who we can attract and how we can work with them. So once you figure out exactly who it is that you want to work with and where to find them, you'll be able to start attracting clients in, and you'll start to grow your brand and your business. Last month during the masterclass, we talked all about uncovering what your niche is and getting really specific for who you want to serve and then what problem that you solve. So we dug into who you are and what you do. And now it's time we layer it down and we get crystal clear on who it is you want to serve and what the problem is that you solve. So getting crystal clear on who your ideal client is and how to find them. During the masterclass today, we're going to talk about how to grow your business by truly knowing and understanding who your audience is and how you support them in their business journey. So I have 3 ways that I work with my clients for really uncovering and discovering who it is that they want to work with. And the first way with that is it all starts with you. So when I started my business back in 2007, I went through business coach training. I personally went through a franchise and got trained on how to be a business coach, what that looked like. And I had all the tools and the support and the resources that I had, but I never really took the time to use the ideal client work for myself. I figured, I can have all this information now. I can pretty much go out and help any business owner that I talk to because I knew I had a valuable service that I could provide them with. I knew how to help them set goals and how to help them create a focused plan for what they needed to accomplish and what they needed to do. But I kind of forgot that I needed to actually know who I was speaking to. So I got lost in myself. I was talking to pretty much everybody, which if you are talking to everybody, most of us know, especially in the marketing world, you're talking to pretty much nobody. So nobody's listening if you're talking to everybody. I wasn't being really specific. I hadn't done my niche work. I wasn't clear yet on who it was that I actually wanted to help and then what information I could use to find them. So the first year or so in my business, I struggled with getting clients. I got clients inconsistently. I was getting clients, but they weren't coming from the same type of place. They weren't the same type of people. And I was kind of scattered and wasn't sure exactly what I was doing. So about a year into my business, I really took the time to get real specific on who I wanted to work with. And I realized that it had to start with me. I had to sit back and say, who do I want to work with? What types of people do I want to attract? So I encourage you to think for a minute, who is it that you want to work with? And also think about who is it that you don't want to work with. There's a lot of people that we might attract to us and we might work with, and we might realize that they're not the best fit. Maybe they have different personalities. Maybe we just don't enjoy doing the work with them. So it's important that you start with you and who you want to work with. So take a second and just think, who is it that would be the perfect type of people that you would want to work with? If you have a favorite client maybe that you've worked with in the past, what were some of the characteristics or things about them that really stood out to you and made you want to get on the phone with them and talk to them during, whether it's your coaching sessions or if it's a client that is a repeat customer that keeps coming back to you for ordering product or different things? What is it about that person that you love working with? And so look at it from your point of view. Who is it that you want to work with? Like a lot of times when you look at a lot of the client profiles and ideal client work that a lot of people teach, a lot of times they have you automatically just start thinking about what that person looks like, but they never have you really look at who you actually want to work with. So take a minute and just think about who it is that you want to work with. And remember, you want to work with people that you love to work with. These are the people that are going to light you up, make you excited to wake up each morning to work with them. And then you also want to keep in mind who are those that you don't want to work with. So when you're doing that, there's 2 different areas to look at. You can look at your demographics, which is, are they a man, a woman? Are they a certain age group? Do they make a certain income level? So you want to define what your audience's factors are. Are they married? And then also look at, what are the real world things that are going on for them? And then there's also the psychographic piece to it. So you have your demographics, which is just your kind of like your male, female, age. And then your psychographic, though, is when you can really get into kind of who your ideal client is. What are their desires? What are their struggles in life? What are kind of those things that keep them up at night? So kind of keep those two different things in mind as you're thinking about who you want to work with. So what do you fear will happen if you get crystal clear on who you want to work with? A lot of times we fear that if we get really specific on who our ideal client is, that we might leave some money on the table, right? Like I was telling you in the beginning when I started my business, I wanted to help everybody because I thought I could help everybody. But in reality, I couldn't help everybody. I could only help specific people that were going to be the perfect ideal clients for me. So get really clear on who that person is and why you can help them. And if you're afraid that you're not going to make money, you'll actually start to attract more clients towards you when you get more specific with your niche and who your ideal client is. And then a lot of times we feel like we're going to exclude people. So you might say that you work with online or female entrepreneurs, which is something that I typically do. Most of my clients come to me, they're female, but I also work with men as well. That doesn't mean that when I'm marketing that I work with female online entrepreneurs, that I'm necessarily trying to exclude those people. It just means that those are the primary people I like to work with. Those are the people that I know I can help the most. So get clear on who you want to work with and why you want to work with them in that mindset. And then also consider too, when you start your business, you have a chance to grow and develop, and you can change who you work with as you grow and learn and develop. So just like with your niche, you might start out doing one thing, and then you might pivot your business and grow as you learn and as you yourself change and grow and develop. You might have more information that you can teach other people. When I first started my business, I focused a lot in the beginning with helping set up the structure for a business. My background was HR training and development, and that's what I knew really well. So I knew as a business coach that I could help business owners set up a solid foundation for their business by making sure they had the right pieces in place so they could quickly grow their business. But it took me a minute to realize that. When I first started, I was helping everybody with every piece of their business. And as I kind of took a step back and realized what it was that I wanted to do, I realized that helping people set a solid foundation for their business was what I was really good at. That was what I was passionate about. That's where I could shine as a person, as well as be able to help my clients get those pieces implemented in. And that's why, like, a lot of my clients now come to me and I teach them how to identify what their niche is. I help them get really clear on who their ideal client is. I help them with their messaging. And then I also help them find out exactly what their goals are and help them work that backwards so that we can come up with a strategically focused plan for how to hold them accountable and to grow their business. And I help them do those baby steps and the planning process that a lot of people don't like to do. But it wasn't until I got really clear that that's something that I love to do that I was able to start attracting those clients towards me. So the first thing to getting crystal clear on your ideal client is to get really clear with who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. So step number 2 is market research. So market research is one of the things that has helped me grow my business the most, by just getting out there and talking with ideal clients. A lot of times when I talk to my new clients, they're a little bit afraid to get on the phone with people who are their ideal client, or they're afraid to ask for survey help and get different things going with that. But for me, I found that the more market research that I did, the easier it was for me to really grow my business. So I have all my clients do market research. So I have them get on the phone with 5 to 10 different people that are in the ideal client realm that they think that they want to work with. So they've identified who they want to work with. Now they're getting on the phone or on a Zoom call, kind of like we're today, where they're able to have a conversation and engage with people and ask the questions that they need to. So I have them get on the phone with 5 to 10 people, and we script out different questions that you can ask them. But you might ask questions like, why do you want to start your business? What made you want to start your business when you got started? Sorry, I got a couple cheat notes over here. So you can ask them, what's your greatest challenge in your business currently? As an entrepreneur, what are some of the things that frustrate you? You can ask them what their desires are, what's holding them back. You can ask them how much money they actually do want to make so that you can help them work those goals backwards. But sit down and think about the different types of questions that would help you understand who your ideal client is more. And those are the questions that you're going to use when you get them on the phone or on a Zoom call. The second way that you can do market research is by doing surveys. I love to go into Facebook groups, whether it's my own personal Facebook group or maybe it's in Facebook groups of other people, and just ask questions. You can create a survey, so you can use either like Google Forms or Typeforms or SurveyMonkey. All of them are free services that you can use, that you can send out into a Facebook group, or you can send it to your email list. If you have an email list built already, which I highly, highly recommend. If you don't have an email list, start capturing your ideal client's email so that you can reach out to them and stay connected. But it's important that you just get the survey out to the world. So you can send those right out after you write out those questions. You can either do it on the phone or you can send out a survey. And be really clear in your messaging when you're asking for the survey. The worst thing you can do when you're sending a survey out is to send it out and then ask people that are not technically people you want to work with. So be real clear in your messaging as far as if you're like one of my ideal clients is a mom who works a ton of hours and was missing out on all the important parts of their kids' lives, and they wanted to start a business. So when I'm marketing to moms that are missing out on important parts of their lives and want to start their business, if I put that in the header of the survey, if somebody's scrolling through and they happen to be a mom who feels like they're missing out on a lot of pieces of their lives and they want to start a business, those are the people that are going to take the survey. It's calling to them. So be really clear and specific in your messaging so that you can attract them in. And then another thing I encourage you to do is offer an incentive. So if people are taking the time to fill out your survey or to spend time on the phone with you, it's important that you give them an incentive. Offer them maybe a 30 minutes, like something I do is I offer usually a 20 or 30 minute free coaching session where I can help them get a problem solved really quickly. And at the end of it, there's no pitch. I just offer a free coaching session. Afterwards, I say, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you taking, the 20 to 30 minutes that you spent with me when we did the market research questions. I'm so glad I was able to give back and help you solve this problem in your business. Or maybe you offer them a free gift or an opt-in or a freebie that you created, something that you can give to them as a thank you. And then I always encourage you to try to get their email address as well, especially if you're growing your email list and you're asking for people to take surveys off of different Facebook groups. These are all people that are your ideal client. So ask them for their email address so that you can continue to communicate with them further. And ask them, is it okay if I add you to my newsletter? I'd love to stay in touch. And most of the time they say yes. Occasionally they might say, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time and help you out with this, but I'm not interested in your service, and that's fine too. At least you know and you asked. Another tip too is if you are doing your market research calls, make sure you do them on a platform kind of like we're on today, like with Zoom. This will give you an opportunity to record the call, and then you can send it to them as a gift. Like, here's a copy of the recording that we did. That way they can go back and see what things came up for them and they can use it. But then you can also use it as well, because you'll be able to go into it and take notes. What was it that your ideal client was saying was keeping them up at night? What were some of their struggles? And you can use that information to help with your messaging on your website, on your social media posts, on the blogs that you create. But any content that you're creating, you'll now have their words to use. And then I always encourage my clients too to go back every 30 days and do more market research. A lot of times we think, oh, we can do the market research one time. That's all we have to do. And then we can forget about it. But that's not the case, especially with our ideal clients, and especially as we're growing as human beings, and as we're on our own journeys, we're growing constantly. So are our clients. So I always encourage you to, every 90 days, do some market research inside your own Facebook groups, inside your newsletter list. Ask people to share more information with you, but always continue to learn and grow and see what new things are keeping them up at night. And then step 3 is, how do you, now that you have the information of who you want to work with, and then you've also talked to people that are your actual real life ideal clients, what do you do with that information? So I like to have my clients do what I call an ideal client profile. And this is where you get really specific and clear of who it is that you want to work with. And then you pull the information from your calls and kind of blend them together and kind of narrow it down to one single person. Or sometimes if you might have 2 different clients, if you have 2 different types of work, like I know sometimes you have different product businesses and different things where you might have a couple ideal clients, but most of us have one specific ideal client that we want to talk to. So let's narrow it down to be really clear, so we know exactly when we sit down to write a new blog post or create a newsletter or do a Facebook Live or create a social media post, we can speak directly to that one person. We don't have to talk to everybody. We don't need to feel like every single person needs to hear our message, because that's not true. We want to specifically talk to that one person because that's the person that we know in our heart we want to help and that we can help. So narrowing it down. So who you want to work with. I like to give mine a name. My ideal client name is Tracy, or Stacy. Sorry, I said it wrong. Stacy is my ideal client. She is who I write all of my content for. So when I sit down and write a blog, I have Stacy in mind. She's a working mom who, in the beginning when I started my business, she was working a 9-to-5, and she wanted to start her own business. And since that time, my ideal client has transformed a little bit. She's grown and developed as time goes by as well. Now she is no longer working that 9-to-5. She started her business and she's looking to up-level it and scale it to the next level. So your ideal client will move and grow with you as you grow with your business. So get really clear and think about, so name her or him. So mine is Stacy. She's 38 years old. She's married. She has children. They are still young. She has a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and an 8-year-old. They live in a suburb city, so they don't live in the heart of the city where it's kind of that rush and crazy busy lifestyle. They live in the suburbs where it's a little bit more slower paced. Her husband commutes to work. She runs her business from home while her children are home with her, or while they're in school. So get really clear, get to know exactly who your ideal client is, and start to think about what are the things that they do. Like my ideal client has hobbies. She likes to craft, she likes to get creative, and she also likes to go out with friends and barbecue. What books do they read? What websites do they visit? My ICA likes to listen to podcasts. So get to know kind of what your ideal client profile is, and start filling in that information. Get to know her so well so that every time you sit down and write content, you're thinking of that person, and that's who you have kind of top of mind. So who they are, where they work, name them, and talk to them as if, in all of your marketing campaigns, and talk to them as if they're your friend too. One of the things that I love to do when I'm writing content is I try not to stay too much in my head and share information like too much book smart type knowledge. I like to speak from my heart or from my gut and listen to kind of what my ideal client might actually be going through and how they can resonate and relate to it. So take time to think about that as well. And then another great thing that you can do with all this information, once you get to know who your ideal client is really well, is you can start to think about the things that are in your life and that are happening, and see how they might relate to your ideal client. So I talk a lot about sharing your story with your audience and really showing up as your authentic self and just being you. So create like a story bank as well, where as things happen in your life and you want to share that with your audience, with your ideal client, make sure it relates to your ideal client too. So if something happens, I do what I call a story bank file. I have a document in Trello where anytime I think I have a story that I might want to share with my ideal client, I just write the story down there first. And then as I'm looking for content or different ideas to share with my ideal client through my blog or through videos and different things, I go back to that story bank so I can pull some of those stories so that I can relate and resonate a little bit more with my ideal client. So the 3 major steps with it is, so making sure you get crystal clear on who you want to work with, do the market research, get on the phone, get in Facebook groups, talk to real life people and find out what their struggles are, what their desires are, so that you can help them the most with your business and what you're trying to accomplish. And then the third step is just to pull that all together. Take that information of who you want to work with and all that research from talking to real life people and blend that so that you can attract those to you and really grow your business and increase your profits, because you're able to really resonate and touch on the pain points of your ideal client as well as the pleasure points, the things that they desire, and as they grow. So thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here in just a second so we can open up for Q&A.